all by myself here today. So I thought we would do a little bit of a stream on, well, let's just call it a side project. So really, I'm not working today, but because my wife works over the New Year's break, she works in the horse racing industry, and so she is in charge of marketing for a track. They always have their races on New Year's Eve. So she's going to be quite busy, and I'm going to be at home with Bailey, our greyhound rescue, who is a little bit more needy than our last dog. So I'm going to be at home taking care of him, which means I won't be doing very much work. But I'm not doing very much work anyway, as between the Christmas and New Year's, it's a time to sort of like recharge the batteries a little bit. And in my case, it's kind of like also a case of going back and looking at some older projects. So it's nice to see that there actually are a couple of people in the chat today. So hi to the regulars. Hey, Dalton, Rutger, Totally Glitch, Tamsin, familiar faces. Nice to see. This is going to be a very, very soft stream. I'm probably not going to talk as much as I usually do. And really, this is going to be more about just hanging out for about an hour with this sort of like concept. And of course, in the background, you can occasionally hear Hannes doing his thing. So yeah, hey Brian, welcome. So what is this? Well, I have actually taken a very old concept of, in fact, the original concept. I wish I bought the book in today. So you hate this cold, just sneezed and accidentally hit the dislike button. Don't do that. And in fact, you should like and subscribe. That's the way to do things, the correct way. So anyway, please don't dislike this just yet. Give it a chance. It says here like the average view duration was 8 seconds. So I'm pretty sure that's just to do with the very start of the stream. But in case it's not, please stay. I'm not that bad, I promise. Honestly, the YouTube thingy is kind of like an ancillary thing that we do just to make sure that people can see behind the scenes, to make sure, we're not just wasting everyone's time and money. So off the back of the recent Beowulf campaign, so this is the new ship design in Maya, or a ship variant of the Chimera. I wish I had the original version to compare it to, but I did kind of kill it in this file because it was around 4 gig, and the larger the file is, the longer the saves take to make. At the moment, I've just called this the survey, and you could see in the image that we put up for the dislike is still engagement. It is. Unlike me, staring at this screen instead of that screen, where you guys are doing the chat, I still haven't figured out how to get all the details over. Let's see. Oh, there. Yep, the chat's on the wrong side. I can't make it go to the opposite side, unfortunately. But in any case, yes. Do I have an image of this somewhere? We did have it on the Chimera channel on our Discord. But I can't figure out where that's gone. Yes, I can. Here it is. So I'm just going to open the original in a window, and we're going to make it its own window. And then we're going to drop it here so you guys can see the sketch. So I used to sketch a lot. And in fact, I have hundreds upon hundreds. Oh no. What has happened? I've lost the... Here we go. There we go. Sorry, guys. So I have dozens of sketchbooks from when I was like a teenager, and in my in my 20s, I did a lot of designing. I didn't just happen to fall into, creating spaceships. It's something I've been doing since I was like 10 years old. It's just so happened that I could get into 3D printing with science fiction in 2017 when we did Starship One. But I have books filled with designs for variable fighters, a lot of Macross-inspired stuff. But before I wanted to design, let's take us back to, I think it was 2018, right after the end of our third Kickstarter, when we had just put out Scout Ship Beta, Transport Delta, and Shuttle Alpha all in one campaign. And we'd spent quite a lot of time doing those three ships, and I thought, okay, three ships at once, that's a good option to provide people with, hey, either you support the ship you like, or you go the all-in, as a way of generating money. And it did very well, and so we were going to do another campaign, but I had already figured out that it was a way, 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 way more work than I'd intended to do three ships, so I was only going to do two. And so I had two concepts. One was what would become the Chimera, so a very basic platform, very much similar to what the original concept was. So it's meant to be fully modular. It's a more Star Warsy type boxy ship, and then you would have a ton of different modifiers on it, which has proven to be a big thing now since we have like the Cerberus, the Pegasus, the Pathfinder, the is that it? I feel like I'm forgetting one, but maybe not. And the Adafoy. And, that's all based on variants of the same concept. And I did a couple of designs of what some variants might look like. And this was one of them. And it was more like I don't know if it was a submersible or like a survey ship or something like that. But it had more of a bubble front. One thing that I won't be implementing here is it only has a half level, sort of like here, around I hope you guys can see the mouse. I'm not sure you can. Let's see. Left screen capture. Oh, okay, the cursor is included. Excellent. Excellent indeed. I was also sketchy in my teens. Well, you guys could share some of those sketches in our Discord on occasion. That would be nice. I'd like to see some other people's stuff. Thank you, Rutger or Rutger. I don't know how to pronounce your name exactly. Sorry. And yeah, the other ship obviously was going to be what became the Sleipnir. It was quite a tiny icon pointer. I can actually see it's there, Dalton. It was just mostly like to highlight things. Rutger. Okay. It's pronounced Rutger. Okay, yep, we'll go with that. So the primary differences in this design is it's a little bit more curvy than the original. You've only got a single level here. I do like some of the detailing on the paneling and that. And then it has a bunch of smaller engines rather than the twin engines that the original had. Now this version that I've just rigged up very quickly is kind of like an evolution of that design. I've just imported, like, this is just a 3 times scaled up fin from the Starfighter series. It has the original engines here. It's 4 inches shorter than the Chimera. Its feet are in the middle, which is probably not the best idea. It would be more stable if they were out on the edges, but it's a bit more work to get it done. I don't know if this is going to become a production model or not. It's really just playing around, because to get it to the point where everything will print is going to take some time. So my true purpose of opening up this scene was actually to go back to the base of the ship, because we talked about the stability issues with the Chimera series, and I'm just going to show you that I've implemented now a version which uses the support rods that we used in the Beowulf and the Type S, with the idea being that we would do versions of these. Also the clip holes were wrong in these, so I wonder if that's in the final version as well. So I haven't test printed any of this, but the idea is we would introduce back, I'm just going to isolate this so we don't see all the crap around it, introduce a support rod that would run from there to there basically, which is much better than the fiddly clips I did during the last attempt to sort of like increase the stability of the Chimera. I've got up on my shelf You guys can't really see it, and it's a bit too far away to change the camera. Um, Someone has 4 meters of support rods going in. Lovely ship. Love to hang out, but got a family was going to convince a 10-year-old to make a ship in a 3D printing class. Go. Get them going early. Um, well, nice that you popped in too, Yax. I appreciate it. I wish I had the skills to sketch. I can give absolute mechanical volume sizes, but anything I draw looks like it should be in a dunce corner of a preschool. The engine array is really quite interesting. All right, great comments, guys. I really appreciate this. I'm guessing a couple more people are at home this week because it is what we call mellandagarna, the middle days, the time between Christmas and New Year's. Really horrible work week layout this time where we don't get any, public holidays falling on weekdays. So yeah, this is just a mock-up at the moment. The most important thing was these. I've done it again. The rods. So they are designed to go through now. You would just clip with regular clips, with the tight clips actually still. So you'd have a very, very stable base. And this runs through even as far as this. So I think I need to go to 4. So you can just vaguely see, hopefully it's coming through all right, that the rod goes right through there. So you would cut it to size, put it in place, and then cut it all together, right? And then the other major change too is that the bulkheads, it always annoyed me that, these curves, normally you would have to print this flat, and then you would have to start thinking about supports under there. But these shapes would work really well if they printed like on their side, like this. So what I'm thinking of doing is actually having this and then putting in inserts, and then you have more control too over exactly where the placement of the door is, right? Because all we need is like an offset door and a centered door, and then you can just slide it in and choose for yourself. So there's a couple of innovations that I was thinking of bringing to the Chimera. When I say thinking, I mean, this is just a side project. So what I might actually do, I don't know yet. But maybe like we're talking about doing a starfighter project, and where the starfighters that we're doing every month for the tribes, finally doing a starfighter 3-pack at the end of it with a bunch of different variants. But what if we had like this variant introduced as well, so that if you want to support it a little higher level, you could either get an upgrade pack with all the new parts, or, stuff to build out your own survey vessel, whatever it is. Now, let's talk about some of the cool features I just invented along the way. So one is like in the original image, you can see it has a bubble cockpit. And here it's a little bit smaller, but, the scale is off as well. But here I made the bubble a little bit longer so far. It's only an experiment. It really is a very basic shape, as you can kind of see here. If I unsmooth it, it's very hexagonal. Not hexagonal, it's quadratic. So I'm putting the smooth back on. I haven't quite figured it out whether or not I want to get rid of the side windows to do something more like the... I guess this has some retro thrusters there, and they're kind of built in here to the sides as well. I don't know. At the moment, I'm kind of like more of a mind of like just providing options for curved sides to a Chimera series. But of course, it's me. I can never do anything simply. So instead of keeping the bridge at the front, like you can kind of see here, I've planned to do, I've made a second level where the captain can actually view down onto the bridge. And this makes for a really, really cool concept. Not at all safe, but, maybe the see-through material is actually plasteel or something. Let's see. I'm not bad at drawing flat images and cross-sections, but terrible at sketching perspective. Starfighter carrier Chimera, Surveyor, confirmed. Well, Rutger, funny that you should mention that. I was thinking about the layout. One thing that we do have here is the armaments are the broadside lasers. And I was going to double it down. I'm like, what is the purpose of this ship? And I'm like, well, it's mostly a survey or science vessel of some kind. I don't know where we're going to put any scanning equipment. Maybe down here in the nose, something similar to Scout Ship Beta or something like that. But I was like thinking player ship wise, what are players like? Because this is a fairly big ship. I don't know about the exact length, but I'd guess it's probably about 35 meters long to maybe 40 meters long. Something like that. And I was like, well, players like hangars. So I was like, but that would waste a lot of space. I'm just like, you got a player group. Most people are going to be in the ship itself. You've got this broadside weaponry as a sort of difference, makes it stand out, right? But what happens if we just turn off the top? I haven't figured this all out yet, but side hanger. So we rip all of this out, and you've just got a tiny hanger. It's not enough for all ships. I'm thinking of getting like some elements from the hangar scene here. This is what I had before I closed things up. I can see from the exclamation marks that people are excited about this. This is one of the things that happened with Star Citizen 2. Everyone wanted a pocket carrier, right? And technically, we could make this in such a way that you could just have a double upped version of this on both sides if you wanted to rip out the airlock or something. Or we have a variant of the airlock that's on the bottom. I'm not entirely sure yet. I'm really only sketching this out. And again, I don't know if we'll make it into a project. I think we'd need to get a gauge of the interest. So let's see. Could the bubble have a frame along the surface? We could do a version of it with a frame. Yeah, I think we would make like a lower version that's more like easy to fit. The window reminds me of the Prometheus bridge. Okay, cool. So it's about the size of the Type S in size. I'd say quite similar, yes, but it probably has a lot more internal volume since it's got 3 levels. We could actually measure this. Actually, we can maybe turn on the grid and count the squares. So towards the end, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and then it sticks out to 30, I'd say. So that's 45 meters, right? So I guess it is slightly longer because of this bubble shape. Let's see. You can fit a few spider crabs in there. Yes, you could. The sketching I do at work all consists of plan and section details? Section details? I'm not sure what you're saying there, Brian. You could make alternative parts for the laser broadsides, a set of viewing windows if you want a yacht, observation gear for a scout, launch, retrieval cranes, fighters. This design is inspiring. That's the way I choose to read it. Thank you. Or Ben, I'm just happy to be excited about it, even if this doesn't happen. I'm filled with inspiration. I could repeat the hanger lengths to make multiple hanger bays. Yes, you could. In fact, you could just put another section in between to separate them. You could also have it be opposite, so that you would have the hanger on the opposite side. You can put another level in between, probably. I don't know how that would work with this, but yeah, lots to be done. Let's see. Traveling dock, not dock. Okay. Section. Right. Thank you. Let's see. Medical systems and blah, blah, blah. Giving so many ideas. So, I don't know. Technically, we could provide some other options. The other thing, too, is if we don't have this standard engine rear section, which is shorter by at least 2 inches. or 2 squares, whatever you want to call it. We could have those smaller engines in here, and we would have more to play with in the actual engineering section. I've been talking about implementing my own rules and universe, and that would be a good place for a fold drive. So yeah, you could lengthen this to have, you know, I don't know, 6 or 7 different bays if you wanted to. Mix and match. A solid piece that can be printed to use as a former for shaping clear plastic over. Yeah, that could be a way to do things, yeah. Because obviously this is going to be the main challenge. You leaving me?
Yes.
Hannes is leaving.
Do some laundry.
Gott nytt år då.
Yeah, I'll be back. But gott nytt år.
Ja.
Bye.
Bye. And we are completely alone now. But yeah, the important things is to what we can concretely get out. So like these bases can be done. The alternate ribs will take a lot more time. I've deleted most of the stretch goals from this. Someone was asking about the old... someone is designing a bridge. It might be you, Rutger. I'm not sure what your handle is on the Discord, or if you're on the Discord. But we had a final stretch goal for the Chimera that never made it, and this is it. So it kind of looks like it doesn't look as fancy on this, but I kind of like the look of that. Interesting. We'll see what the reactions are on that thing. So it kind of like makes it look like a sub. We have this sort of like cross between a see, I really didn't get very far with this, but I have so many parts I could draw from at the moment. So I'm kind of like liking the idea of putting this into a camp, not a Kickstarter, but we'd do a Frontier. But as a Frontier sort of stretch goal, because I would not want to put all the work into getting this done now, but kind of like the same way that we opened up additional stretch goals for the Beowulf there at the end. Let's see, let's put on the top again just to see how it looks. Oh, right, yeah, it's not. This is kind of cute. I like it. It's a bit, you know, suspicious, but I am on the Discord and was participating in that, but not, but it was not me that was making the basic Chimera in 3D. Okay, right, yeah. Space barge. Make the bridge a starfighter that can detach as a solo ship. You know, back when I was designing ships for Star Citizen, like when we thought modding would be a thing, I had that exact concept that the bridge could come off and move away from the ship. So I don't know. This is all about hopes and dreams. This little 1 hour stream thing. This is kind of wide. I don't know if I do it the way that it's been done now. I'd probably streamline it a little bit more. Kind of has a semi-submarine look to it too. So I don't know. But I do like the idea of finally being able to make it. Can you save a screenshot of that for the bridge for the Discord? I can do one better. We can... let's see, I can select the items from this. Let's see, top bridge, select objects. And all we need to do is take a screenshot of this. So snipping tool, new. And I'll put this in the Chimera. As requested on stream, the unmade bridge stretch goal for Chimera. See, Chimera's been quite a popular sales item, although mostly less so in volume and more so in just the fact that the sales are usually quite high. How odd. Why is that thing in there still? See, I was probably just mapping it out and trying to figure out exactly how to do things. And it would require a bit more thought, but at least there is like a sort of shape here. I like it. And on a larger Chimera, it might not look so weird. It would kind of also be interesting to put it like right up the front. I don't know if we can move this all. I suspect not, no. But if it was like... Actually, I can probably group that. Imagine if it was like up towards the front of the ship, like maybe even jutting out. It would make for an interesting shape. But I'm going to hide it again. Since it's a pipe dream. So yeah, my goals here is to actually start. This is the older version that I did earlier. At the end of the day, I thought it was a bit too thin when I sliced it. You have 2 layers here now, but it's like I'm thinking this is going to have an upward pressure. You want to have like 3 layers or more. So if I refresh these now, and we probably want to flip this. Interestingly enough, no errors detected. So these are really well, when I say really well modeled, the Chimera stuff is quite simplistic. And I'd keep it that way. I don't think the Chimera needs an update in its designs that much. Let's see. The landing gear could be a bunch of spider crabs. A bit like that. What I've seen some cosplayers do is print the visor solid and heat up the... Okay, like we're talking about the screen again. Space Battle Chimoto. Kaimoto. Yes. Quick trademark that name. Block the front and have a lot of aerial antenna and such. Yep. So yeah, if we test print this again now, I'm hoping there will be... Okay, there's not 3 layers, but these are definitely thicker than what they were. You can see here that I think it's just the way it's sliced, but it's a lot wider. I'd feel a lot more secure with those being in place. Really, the rods, I think together will be fine with that, because the main thing that's occurring when you've got the rods in is they're kind of adding additional stability to all the clips that are already there, right? So technically with the tight clips that we've made recently, or rather we made for the Type S, I believe, is when they premiered, they do hold the ship together much better. I did that with my Cerberus. I haven't painted my Cerberus, so it might be interesting to employ some of these new techniques onto the Cerberus and implement it by just reprinting a few parts so that the bottom is fully stable. Let's see. What is the spider crab? As mentioned, it's for the upcoming tribe special. I wonder if we have... Let's see. This was... oh, by the way, guys, some people remarked... shout out to Tanner, who pointed out that the Space Shuttle Alpha bus variant isn't compatible with the Type 3B. Only it is now because I made an updated version. So that has been updated. We don't have them in the regular stretch goals yet, I don't think. I meant to tell Lisa a lot about that, but kind of forgot. So yeah, our tribes, if we go to the public profile, looks like my manufacturer is not loading in correctly. It's equivalent to... Oh shit, 450. What happened? That is temporary. I think about 150 of those are just actually temporary members that have come in from Print Minis crowd. So they'll mostly disappear on the 1st of January. I'd be very surprised if we kept more than even a third of those. So if we are still over 400, that would be brilliant, but I don't expect it. So that's awesome. Yeah, $5 a month. You basically get a new starfighter or vehicle, other goodies. The starter pack has over $40 worth of stuff. And amongst these, we had some voting for our next pieces. Oh yeah, we did the fold out bed. I don't remember if I streamed that or not, but January Starfighter poll is the one. So if I go into this, hopefully it will load. It did not. Loaded a second time. Here we go. Here's the spider crab, and here is the Star Lancer. So there's a choice between those two, although it's quite clear at this point that the winner is going to be the spider crab, which is a more utility sort of vehicle. So I'm looking forward to doing that in January, right? So now you can see what it looks like. So yeah, I don't know what we would call this thing. There's some things to sort out practically on like how you would solve such a bubble screen. There's a lot more that I'd want to get going in this scene before I'm sort of happy with the result. I'll probably increase the size of this sort of shield forward to about maybe here, so that we can also bring forward this bridge exit. And then the idea would be you'd have your bridge captain's sort of suite on one side of this upward deck. Down here, you'd have like your survey team. We'd keep the bridge kind of similar to what it is, although, like I said, I'm thinking of getting rid of this window. Although, I don't know, what do you guys think? Should we keep the window or get rid of it? So let's make a poll. Let's see. I'm going to engage with my audience. Let's start a poll. Should the survey ship keep the side windows or be closer to the original sketch with RCS thrusters instead? Keep the window, RCS thrusters, please. Whoops, I don't want a third option. Ask my community. Why can't I post this? Your question is too long. By how much? 107 characters. Alright, that should do it. Ask your community. Vote away, my community. I mean, for the bridge's sake, it's probably not out of the question to do both, technically. I don't know. This isn't a ship yet. I don't know if it should be a stretch goal, if it should be a released ship, what the deal should be. But I kind of like that the Chimera, you can keep coming back to it and adding to it. It adds more value to everyone. And just having the sort of like curved hull as an option. Like you could have a curved bottom on a regular Chimera, for example, if you wanted something that looks like more re-entry friendly or something like that. I don't know. I kind of like it. It's inspiring. And the fact that it has like this potential to have the secret hangar. Well, not secret hangar. This would open up, I would say, in a similar manner to the escape pods. Did I delete those? I think I did. Why did I do that? Do I have escape pods left? I don't think so. I tried to get rid of everything from the scene that I didn't think I'd need. And, you know, it's a messy, big scene, right? Here's all the side armaments you could have as a replacement instead. Don't know what happened to the, like, torpedo launcher version. It seems to be missing, like, the actual torpedo launcher part. But oh well. It probably just got stuck in a different layer. So there's a lot of stuff in this scene that you'd want to really ideally get rid of. But until I know what the base ship is going to look like, I'm going to keep it there. That's exactly how I built the Pathfinder as well. Let's see. I think the side window adds to the panoramic feel of it. Keep. I would suggest a blast door window shutters. I mean, we did that for all our other windows. But that's still not going to help with the massive window you otherwise have. I picked up a sub the other day and picked a couple of files on the side to play with. Now, thanks to another modeler, I'm trying to figure out how to use a FDM printer. That's awesome, Doc Roberts. Welcome to the tribe. FDM is fun. A lot of this stuff can be printed in SLA, and in fact, I kind of have this running deal with an awesome community member, Demonora, who has been submitting their resin supports and for Shuttle Alpha, for example, or the Mark IV rather, and a couple of other items that they're doing. And I kind of have this thing where it's like, well, if you want to do the supports, I can provide models for, basically as cheap as possible. Doc Roberts, make sure you join the Discord. It's a great place to ask questions. I agree. So the thing is, like, you can always have the options, and we already have a ton of options. I mean, that's why this scene is like it is, and this is after deleting everything. So we have all of these sort of like interior pieces. How many crew would you need for this ship? I know Dalton is itching to find out how many D-tons it is. You had a similar window bridge on the beta, right? Yes, except the beta has... well, not as a dome bridge, no. It has like a dome, but it has a structure to it. And I would imagine we would do that kind of structure as well on this. Probably basically, if you imagine all of these quads, if they became like the windows instead. So that if every square became a window, basically, and you would have a frame kind of similar to at the front here on the top and bottom. Something I'd be considering. We do have a couple of different spaces on this ship we need to think about, so like I said, there's no real goals here. I don't know how far I'm going to take it, if this is even going to be anything. The point is, this is just something I like to do in my downtime. I also started designing a brand new ship, which was a tail sitter, like the Sleipnir from the beginning, although I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do now. Its primary inspiration was from Gunbuster. Well, what's the name of the ship? I'm trying to think now. I'm going to try and dig up my old inspiration folder. Let's see. Game ideas. There we go. Battleship Royale. Inspiration folder. I got this off to the side right now, so I just didn't want to share too much. Let's make this big. So a lot of these are designs that inspire me. Like you can see, there's a lot of stuff here from Yamato. You've got your sort of like Macross stuff as well. Lots of line art. I love the Armored. I love Armored 2 too. It's very rare. Here we have some of the ships from Gunbuster. So it was more like this ship. I only had a front design thing, and I think we do have some line art here somewhere. So not quite this. Luxion was the ship I was thinking of, but the design I was doing would probably be more like this. So it's kind of like this weird, almost World War II-esque version. Sadly, I don't have these in higher res. They're very hard to come by. I don't have any Gunbuster art books. But looking at the... I realize my face is also over the top of these. So maybe you could draw it into Photoshop. Yeah, this is probably closer to what we're looking for. Maybe we can just open it and see if we can zoom it. I don't want to open Photoshop right now, but you kind of probably can get an idea of what I mean from this. A tail-sitting cone, hint, hint. I've seen the tail-sitter Type S. All of the Type S's, aside from the one I did, require rebuilding from the ground up, so not going to be tackled. Well, actually, Traveler's probably not going to be tackled until at least third quarter next year. I have purchased the Sleipnir, but have not started printing it yet. I think it's an awesome design, though. Thanks, mate. Do you have an opinion on the Legend of the Galactic Heroes ship designs? I didn't watch too many episodes of that. Like, I was in an anime club at around the same time where I was introduced to Gunbuster and Bubblegum Crisis, for example, which was like in 1997. My university, I was 17, but the university, which was a couple of blocks from where I lived, had an anime club, and they actually used to have the Japanese students would record it in Japan, and then the club would actually subtitle the episodes themselves. There was a bunch of other stuff like Golden Boy and Ranma Half and Fushigi Yugi, a lot of series from that sort of 90s period, before it sort of like some of it entered mainstream, some of it didn't. Slayer, Berserk, those sorts of things. So I was introduced to a lot of different things, but the sci-fi stuff was the most important. And Gunbuster, if you can get your hands on it, the original Gunbuster is a masterpiece. Even if there is maybe a little bit of lack of explanation for why all of the forces fighting the aliens need to run around in their underwear half the time. But I did watch one or two episodes of Legend of the Galactic Heroes. It looked interesting to me. They do seem a little bit too large, so I haven't really revisited it. Oh, Irresponsible Captain Tyler too. That's a brilliant series to watch. It's hilarious. I don't know if it holds up today, but so yeah, lots of designs, and these sort of like, I won't copy them, but I will take inspiration from the sort of like style of things. I don't. This isn't a tail seater per se. It looks like it should be, and it's interesting because in Gunbuster they actually do have a lot of scientific explanations for things like light delay. It's really interesting to see that the crew of the Gunbuster have to go to the center of the galaxy, and I think they're away from Earth. And in Earth time, it's like 10,000 years or something by the time they get back. So yeah, what are we gonna do here? Okay, so the mechanism for this I would solve with some hinge clips probably, or more than likely the same way that we have the escape pods opening up. It's just it would open up as a single sort of section. We need to wall this off. What I was doing just before I came in was, let's just turn off the deck 3 hole here so we can see in. I was going to grab from this scene the observation sections from our hangar here. So maybe I'll just I'm gonna just want to see where all the does that move together? Yes, it does. Okay. So I would probably just remove. Is that all the glass pieces? I would remove these. Sorry, not remove them. Copy to Lambert 1 before I do anything. And then I'll paste them in this scene. And they'll be way off over here. And then we have to adjust the height. I thought this would have had like... Yeah. Some of these old files are terrible if you actually look at the details. So we'd want this to sort of look down into the level below. And see, the thing is, sometimes if I will change these sorts of aspects, right? And then we can just go back and grab this glass here and change it to a glass shader. Right? And we could do a version where it's like this will go straight up to the ceiling instead. So you've got this walkway where you can look down, and on the opposite side here you would probably have some crew cabins, I'd imagine. I don't know. I'm kind of thinking of making the front part of the ship the part where the crew live, the bottom part where the like sensor arrays are and that. I still haven't decided if I'm moving anything else. Let's see. Let's see. Remind me to bring a hard disk when I come visit for beers one day. Very good. Um, so yeah, there are a couple of different things here in this design that I'm sort of implementing or planning to do. I'm just having fun with it. I'll be here another couple of hours, and then I probably won't be able to touch it. I kind of wish I had the rest of the week actually off so I could spend more time doing this. But you know, the tendency when you do have time off is that you suddenly have no time to do anything because you know you're busy with other stuff. I've got a role playing session tomorrow night, and I got to watch Bailey, which means I don't get to sit in Maya here with two fairly reasonably large screens. So glad the hangar observation is getting some love. Yeah, I mean, like, I loved this concept, and this is kind of like what it was really built for, right? And then we need some kind of wall in here. So really the kind of ship that will fit is probably not that large. Unless we put more like a partition in, more like Traveller style. But I like the idea of just having bulkheads here and having something that'll fit in. I mean, the Basilisk is one of the smallest ships you could possibly fit in there. So, again, not that large, but since you have the ability to customize, we could also, you know, have it so that this passage goes over to the side, or technically, there's no reason why, you know, the door frame here has to be centered. So we could have this offset by one, for example. So this is the fun thing. In Maya, it is a little bit easier for me to rearrange things than what it is in Deck Designer. At the moment, not Deck Designer, 3DO. At the moment, I'm happy with the progress of 3DO, but I don't think it's quite where it needs to be just yet, like as far as navigation goes. For me, that would be my priority, getting the tools in place to actually be able to control things a bit better. And you know, technically you could have something similar to this if you wanted to have an enclosed passage on like the Beowulf. I mean, it would still require my input, but yeah, I don't know. So the hang observation is getting some. Okay, yeah, I already read that. I'm sorry, guys. I know. The other thing too is right now I have this hangar floor, and I think honestly it would look better if we just grabbed some of these and created our own proper hangar. Oh, I keep grabbing. This is actually the control for. I think. I wonder if this has got. No, it doesn't look like it does. There was a version in the original when I could still animate things. So this was an animated fighter. Yeah, it's not animated. So the swing wings would like close and stuff. So this was only ever meant to be like a drone. But it was fun to make back in the day. I think this was all the way back from Starship 1, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe Starship 2. Let's see. I may already be on making a passage like that on the Beowulf. Oh, well, there you go. I kind of had it as an idea for a stretch goal. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know yet. So I think these are too thick to rip off as walls. But again, I think we could just reconstitute some of this. I think I found when building a hangar that this doesn't all match up perfectly. Or maybe I was just looking at the wrong version or something. I don't know. Cause oh right, yeah, it needs to go 2 sections at a time. If it was like here, oh no, that matches up. I don't know what I'm talking about. Was it in this direction? Something didn't match up. I can't remember what it was. But yeah, I don't know. I think it would look good with that. The results were resoundingly keep the window, which is cool. I ended the poll 81%. 11 votes. Very nice. Very nice indeed. What? Shadowflag is doing an enclosed cargo bay gantry from the Beowulf. Let's see. I mean, Shadowflag always gets ahead of me anyway. That's the nice thing of being, you know, not burnt out when you're getting into it, when it's actually your hobby and not your job. So what are we going to need? We'll need one of these, one of these, one of these. Probably can just duplicate the rest of them. One corner from each. I don't know if they're actually rotated. Probably are. Let's see. Yeah. And we'll grab some of these as well. So, copy and paste. It took me years before I understood that you could actually do this in Maya. You could copy between versions. Alright, so hopefully this is all... We can set the pivot point to the base here. And we just want to get it up to the right level, which should be about there, I think. It looks fairly aligned. See, if I did this, a final version of it, all of the flooring I wouldn't do in this way. I would make it so that the... What am I trying to say? I'd make it so that the flooring used the same model as on, as in the... Sorry guys, I don't know what's going on with my brain at the moment. The same version as used in Starship: The Next Generation. Thank you, brain. Only took you a year. So yeah, that's kind of like what I was thinking. I guess we'll see what gets implemented in the end of things, if this even becomes a thing. But right now, I'm wondering if this probably has a couple of different, if I remember correctly, I designed this in a weird way. So that we can switch out this for a shader, which should be white stripe. Oh, that's interesting. It all got colored for some reason. Oh well. Nice. So yeah, we can rebuild this. Make it look cool. I think it does look better. Oh, that's not the right one, sorry. My goal for 2023 is to get back into Blender and making some designs. Can we call that a danger tile high voltage? I don't know. Yeah, get back into Blender. I think the holidays is a good time to do that sort of thing, because you can you've got a little bit of time to experiment. Did I not grab a regular? Oh yeah, we have this one. We have that one, okay. So ideally, we want to grab these. Just like so. And then, actually we can probably press G. Yep, that worked. Just to get us our pattern back. And then we just sort of like duplicate this. Yes. Again, I don't know where the petitions will go. Or if maybe the danger needs to be more towards the back or towards the outer edge. It would have been cool to have the thicker line, but I don't think there's really much room unless we like put it along the back here or something. Let's test and see if this actually works. Whoops. Press Q instead of W. Sometimes I wish there was a way for the chat to be just read out, since I don't have an album. but at the same time, I kind of do enjoy just being by myself sometimes. I came in here yesterday and I thought I was going to be alone, and both Lieselot and Albin were here, and I'm like, I thought you were taking time off. So I just paid some bills and left early. And then came home and played Civilization. This is what I thought. Yeah, one of these is off. So that looks good, but that does not. So there's an opposite corner here that requires a different design. But why? How? Is there one too many? Okay, that didn't match either. Okay. So that looks good, but that doesn't. So obviously we need the danger from this direction. Let's see, hang on a second. One little thing in the corner, one little thing in the corner. Yeah, okay, that is different. Yep. So we need this one and this one. And where did they go? They're over here. Let's get their pivot points to somewhere reasonable. Hey, Lillian. Shading on the lines of the corner tile don't match. Yeah, okay, you were pointing out what I just figured out myself. Get a John. He'll read them as a disembodied voice. John is very good in that way. Indeed, he is the disembodied voice of Second Dynasty. But also probably busy with his family. Oh no, he's back. He did say that today, that he has returned. He was on a family visit, but he has now returned to his retreat at a secret location. Okay, so if I lift this up here... Oh, that's right, we'd need a different corner version as well. The corner's the problem. Wait, is it? No, okay, the orientation here's the problem. So... is this it? Does that... it works there, no? Yes? Okay. That works. And that works. Okay, I think I know what the problem is, and it's stupid. This is the problem. Yeah. That was the only issue. Okay. It is what it is. At least it matches up here, right? So I can reuse it, right? Something like that. Let's not get into the details of who did what wrong or anything like that. Let's put that there. Duplicate that. And duplicate that. I kind of wish I had like all the time in the world to do this today. But as usual, my wife has both a needy dog, or we have a needy dog, but she also has her horse, and it requires time from us, which I don't enjoy, to be honest, because it keeps me away from doing more of this. I do long for the time when I could just sit in Maya all day. But at the same time, it's its own kind of reward. So you never know what you're going to get when you rescue a dog. In our case, Bailey, he's a sweet boy. He just requires a little bit of extra love. And also, he has a problem where he tries to rip other dogs apart. That's an issue. But he's been hurt. So now that looks a lot cooler, I think. We just have to figure out what the edge tile would be. I would almost be inclined to grab this this sort of tile here. We're not actually going to do anything with it, but let's see. I'm just selecting. Can we just press G? Does that work? It did work. Like if you got half of this and made it sort of like the finishing tile here on the edge, and then had because this would be the whole folding area, right? So you got your little hanger, you got your little observation section, and maybe this is like you would change all of these to go straight up to the ceiling, offset the door a little bit. I don't know. I like the concept. I like the idea, and I feel like I will probably do more work on this. Other dogs are terrible. Get it? um, so yeah, I could sit on here forever, getting a bunch of different ideas from you guys. Who knows? Maybe the first week of January we'll do some kind of concepting week. Because the other thing I don't really want to do is just go ahead and use all of my ideas and not talk to you guys about it. So I still plan on doing a little bit of community feedback. And I found out recently that I've been doing GDPR a little too tightly, as in like apparently, funny thing with a wife as a marketing expert is I never actually employed that expertise because I didn't want to bore her with spaceships. But basically, I've just been operating under the assumption that we can never send anything out to past customers, but apparently we can send anything out to customers for up to a year after they've purchased something. So there will be a newsletter that you can opt out of. Basically, it won't necessarily be subscription based. It'll be like date of purchase based, maybe, or something like that. We've been talking about this for a while. I think we're going to be better at it next year. It will be a fine addition to my double wide Chimera. Well, the bridge probably won't work. Well, you'd have to have an offset bridge, let's put it that way. You could still put in like regular double wide. You just put in the angled sides on either side of it. It would look a little weird at the front though. Yeah, I don't know if the front can be solved. Because basically you would just move out the sides a bit further or have it offset or something. Offset could be cool. Or, yeah, we might eventually do something about the top bridge. Which would also be cool to have offset, right? If you want to have a little carrier, micro carrier, have the top be flat. So many ideas. Chimera is a great concept. It just needs a little bit more expansion, which is why we are here. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap things up by just saying, I know like there's not a ton of viewers left, but I know those of you that are here are quite loyal and here very often, and I just wanted to say, coming into the end of the year, to thank you very much. We'll switch to a meaningful close-up version so I can say it properly. Honestly, guys, we wouldn't be here where we are today if it wasn't for you. You guys have no idea how much interaction on Discord and here in the chat actually inspires me to do things. It gives me ideas. It's nice to have someone to, just throw concepts up against on occasion, or see if there's a good reaction to what I'm working on. But more than anything, it's New Year's on Saturday, so I wish you all a happy New Year. And my resolution is going to be, in part, I have many resolutions, but to sort of like work a little bit smaller, work a little smarter, and to do a little bit more what like the community actually wants to do. So the first 6 months of the year, not a focus on Traveller, it'll be a focus on original content, and I'm still hoping that we can do the modular cutter in the second half of the year, but we'll see how things go. So that's it for me. Happy New Year for on Saturday, since I won't be back before then.